8:47, and I really hope that y'all enjoy the faces I make for you in my thumbnails because I really try. Really try to make a fool of myself. I wanted to pop on just super quick and check in because we got home last night. We were both frozen to the core, and David had to make a rip-roaring fire in the wood stove to get us both warm, where we had been in the cold all day. We were in a building, but the building had no heat whatsoever. So we were out of the wind and the elements. Gypsy, we were out of the wind and the elements, but the weather and the cold concrete building was just still cold. And so we never were warm yesterday. I actually went to visit other people's booths so I could sit by their ready heaters for a minute, and they were nice enough to share. Hi, Priscilla. I'm just popping on for just a minute to let you know I'm alive. I did go with David Sunday. The antibiotics, luckily, knock on wood this time, have not tried to kill me, and they've worked really, really well. And so they've gotten the fluid out of my ears and the back of my head and the pressure off of my brain and brainstem. So the headaches have reduced and I felt a lot better. And just the lethargy and the has improved quite a bit. So I'm feeling better. I went with David Sunday because it was a shorter day. It was just a 6-hour cell day, and I hate to miss everything. I miss everything. So I was like, even if I feel like crap, I'm going. And luckily I felt well enough to enjoy it. And the guy that was next to us that had free coffee, like samples, he would bring me full like $4 cups for free and trying to keep me warm. He was super sweet. So we had a good time. It was a lot of good people. There was only maybe like a half, not even half of what they had anticipated from their crowd the last couple of years, but the weather was horrible. I mean, it was so freaking cold. And so that was a big thing. And there was a lot of rain. And so you have to walk in between 3 buildings, and then some of it's actually outside. So a lot of families just didn't show up. So the sales were not quite what we had anticipated, but it was still fun. It was still worth going to. David's fur moved really well. My gnomes moved pretty decent. I only came back with a couple of reindeer. And I spent today putting a bunch of stuff on Etsy with David. So there's like 34 ads on Etsy right now. And I've still got at least that many more to go. David's supposed to help me take more pictures tomorrow. So we're going to try to move out a lot of stuff. I don't care if I keep a few gnomes because they always sell, but I would like to move out some stuff so that I can clean because I've got so much stock in my little tiny house that I can't clean. So I just finally got my kitchen cleaned. I've got a couple of boxes that I'm packing. And I've got a couple of Christmas items that I make for my family, but otherwise I'm getting my house straightened back up. And I felt decent today, so I've done some housework in between the downpours of rain. It's just been, the rain's been horrible here today. But I wanted to pop on and say that we had a good time. I was able to upload that really quick video, and that was about all I got because I couldn't, with the way I felt, I couldn't bebop to the other buildings and show you all. Lord, just the hike to the bathroom was enough to kill me, but I wanted to at least share what I saw. Okay, Kim, he's sitting by my TV waiting on you, so it's fine. I wanted to show you a little bit of what was going on. That was just outside of our one building, and there were 3 more buildings, and then a whole bunch of outside tents and vendors and food vendors and stuff. So it was a really nice event. Just wasn't as many people because of the weather and the rain. Oh, Priscilla, you don't feel obligated to do that. Don't feel obligated to do that. Just pass along if you know somebody that's looking for cute little Appalachia rustic and authentic gifts. Pass along the Etsy shop and tell them where to find it. I put the link in the community post that I did earlier, and I'm hoping that stuff sells pretty quick. I'm going to save some stuff and just put on local, like Facebook and stuff, because they tend to go pretty quick too. Hi, Cindy. But we had a good time. I froze my butt off. my seat, I had one of those thin director chairs that I was sitting in. So I ended up getting one of David's thickest beaver pelts and sitting it under my butt and sitting on it. And so I was toasty the rest of the day, but it took me that long to figure out, hey, my husband has 5,000 furs, swap one. Never said I was smart. Um, so I felt better after I did that. But it was a good event. We met some of the nicest people and some of the sweetest little kids. Of course, all the kids gravitate toward our booth because they want to touch all the furs and pelts. And we love for them to do that because they really can't mess them up. I mean, honestly, they can't. And lots of times it's the only time that they get to touch these animals. So we like to take a minute and educate them. And we had some of the sweetest little kids. We had this one little boy that he was just enamored with our booth. And he talked to us for probably 20 minutes. And he was smart. Like, this kid's going places. Like, I was like, this kid's going to like run for president one day. He was smart. And he was like, I really want to buy something. He's like, but I only have $6 left. And I think I would rather have one of the Cody tails or something else. It was like at the $10, $12 mark. And I looked at him. I said, well, I said, you've been pretty good company. And I think you've at least given me $4 of conversation. I said, so how about I meet you halfway if you want to pick out a coyote tail? And his little face just beamed. And he took the fluffiest coyote tail he had left. And he was off like a rocket. And his dad was so sweet. And they were like, thank you so much. But I mean, that child was he was special. That was a sweet little boy. I saw some of the parents and the kids that I used to counsel when I worked in the area. I had a lot of people say hello. My husband was like, how do you know so many people? And I was like, listen, when you work in as many counties as I worked in for the state, you just know everybody. So I got to see a lot of my bonus kids. One of my bonus kids brought her 3 babies by so that I could spoil them for a minute and say howdy and give them some Christmas ornaments. And that was fun because I hadn't seen her and the 3 kids in, oh my gosh, since the tiniest one or the middle one was little enough for me to put in a wheelbarrow to take pictures. And now she's school age. So I hadn't seen them in a while. So that was fun. And, I forget how much ground I covered when I worked for the state and how many people that I met and knew. And it's nice to get back out there and have people remember me and appreciate me and come up and hug me. And so that was sweet. It was a really good event. The weather was nasty. I mean, it was just nasty. And it's just been nasty today too. But I am feeling better. The antibiotics are not trying to kill me this time, which me and my doctor are both like, praise the Lord, hallelujah. So we're responding really well this time. I'm still having issues with my mastoid and, thank you, Priscilla. I'm still having problems with my mastoid swelling and wanting to get infected and wanting to put fluid down at the base of my skull. And it really creates a lot of pain in my skull and a lot of swelling, and it hurts. And that honestly, what they found out has been a lot of my vision issues. So tubes or shunt it's all a possibility in the future, depending on how much longer this problem persists and if it worsens. They're really scared to do surgery because of my reflex sympathetic dystrophy. Afraid that if they do surgery in this area, it will trigger the swelling component of my disorder and really cause me problems. But with the way I felt the last 3 months, that I can't continue being seasick and feeling like my head's in a vice and not being able to function. So if they take the possibility of looking into the surgery, it would be something that I'm completely open to, because functioning is a big thing for me. Quality of life is much more important to me than quantity. So I'm open to that, and it may be something that we have to think about down the road. But I did good. Yeah, it's a big deal, Gypsy, but it's I feel like every 2 years I cross like some massive health hurdle. So at this point, I feel like I'm a steeplechase champ. So I just feel like I'm supposed to be handling this. Ron, there's everybody. Some people get frustrated with me because I hold Ron to such a high standard because he is capable of so much. And some people get mad at me and they're like, well, why would you say that about him? Because there are lots of times I wish that he would understand that his emotions are either his strongest, the strongest thing about him, or his weakest link. And sometimes he needs to know which it is before he reacts, so that he can identify whether he should react or not. Because sometimes he just goes balls to the wall, and I'm like, whoa, we should have thought about that. But when he gets it right, he gets it right. And when he puts that emotion and that fierceness into his lyrical components, it's magic every time. And so I was actually happy to see him focus it back in his lyrical content instead of the tit for tat that had been going on online. So I was like, yes, that this is where you focus all that animosity. This is where it turns into art, and it turns into less of an argument and less of a even though it's like a diss track, there's still an artistic component to it, and you have to give the boy props. So I was really happy to see him focus that emotional stuff there again, because sometimes I'm like, whoa, pump the brakes, Ryan, pump the brakes. But yeah, I was proud to see him take a step up and put that out there. And I think my biggest thing with what's wrong with the world is people are scared to give their opinion. They're scared. It used to be that, and I had a really wise friend tell me this morning, it used to be that we were only responsible for what we said. We weren't responsible for how people, digested it and responded to it. But now the world thinks you are responsible for how people respond to what you say. You're not. People have forgotten that they're responsible for how they choose to act after any kind of stimuli, impulse, or words, anything. And she said that this morning. I was like, oh, that was great. That needed to be said. And so, like, that was an epiphany for me today. And I was like, that's going to be the smartest thing I heard today. And I think that is something that Ryan does well, is that he responds and he puts his opinion out there, and he puts his opinion out there in a way that it can't really be contested or challenged, because it is blatantly artistically his opinion. And so the people that want to feel hurt can feel hurt. And if they want to come back with their own, they can come back with their own. But there is none of this, how dare you berate somebody, and how dare you hurt their ego, and I can't stand for people to pull that line, because the one thing we should all be able to do is communicate, negotiate, and have a dialogue, and that's a lost art in this world. But that was like the smartest thing I heard all day. First thing in the morning, that's what my friend said, and I was like, that's the smartest thing I'm going to hear all day. Oh, Claire, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah, Kim, I think if they do tubes, I think I'll see a lot of improvement. I just hope it doesn't go more than that. And my big thing is I either drain super well to where it's like whoosh, and I have no fluid and no, like, the equilibrium, and I have issues with vertigo, or it doesn't drain at all, and then I have pressure from the fluid. And so the doctors and the ENTs are like, we don't know what to do with you. And I'm like, it's my whole life. Yeah, I've heard that my whole life. So it is what it is. I just heard about Kirstie Alley, and I'm, I'm not angry with anybody that's leaving this old wicked world behind and going on to glory. But I will say that the world is going to miss that woman, because she was one in a million. She spoke her piece. She spoke her mind. She said what she meant. She meant what she said. And she wasn't always on the right side of things, but by golly, she stood where she stood. And I can respect that. And I just heard about that a few minutes ago, and she's a gem. She's a gem, and there'll never be another one like her. Yeah, Kirstie Alley passed away today. Apparently, she had been having a battle with cancer. And, and I didn't ever agree with everything she did, but I thought that she had a beautiful, courageous warrior spirit. And I appreciated that. You don't see that very often. I appreciated that. It's so transparent today when you see people and they're only in it for what benefits them, and their whims change, their behavior changes, their personality changes, their direction, their moral compass changes or spins. just depending on who can give them an extra dollar bill. And she was never like that. She kind of stood her ground no matter what. And so I think that that's definitely a loss. But I certainly I don't um I'm not angry with anyone that is leaving this a wicked world and heading to a better place, because this world is. And the whole Balenciaga nonsense, if that doesn't show you how corrupt our world is, like right now, all the news people are trying to say that, Orange Man is trying to tear apart the founding documents of our nation. And if you read the context of what the man said, that's it's like, okay, mainstream media, do you really think you've dumbed most people down enough to where they can't understand the context themselves? And then I thought, but wait, they have, because you go online and you see everyone believing what they're saying. And I'm like, that's not what he said. And anyone that can read above a second grade level can figure that out. And I think, honestly, and I'm just going to be point blank, the thing that's wrong with America is we're full of idiots. We're full of spineless idiots. I'm just going to say it. When Larry, the cable guy, sang the Jingle Bell Johnny, the Waterhead, he was right on the money, because America is full of stupid people. They've liberated themselves from a brain cell, and now they're just herded like cattle. And it's just like, if you knew context clues, if you knew how to read, if you knew grammar, you could take that apart and understand what he meant. And but you can't argue with these people because they're always right. They grew up with a mentality that their mind is the only mind, their thought is the only thought, their world is the only world, their reality is the only reality. And just to be quite honest, I'm getting real tired of these people. But if the Balenciaga nonsense does not show you how divided and toxic and negative and devilish and satanic our world is, nothing will. Tom MacDonald nails it in lots of his songs. I mean, he's just, he nails it every time. But if, everybody's coming out and denouncing Trump for something you didn't even say, and if you can read at the level of a second grader, you can figure it out. But they can't read a lot, longer than a headline, or they can only get their news from someone who sits behind a desk on TV, and they just swallow it thinking it's the truth, and they can't do any research. They won't look into anything. They're that vapid, and it bothers me. It bothers me greatly to see that we are a nation of idiots. But that's what we are. But so Trump's being berated and everyone's attacking him for something that's not even true. But you can look at the facts about the Balenciaga ad and what they had in it, and the perpetuation of the people's ideals, like the people that produced that and were on the creative design of that. If you go and look at their Instagrams and their social media, which a lot of it's been wiped out now, they were giving a lot of innuendos and a lot of power to a very negative thing. But nobody would talk about that, because that generates the money. And if that doesn't tell you how wicked the world is, nothing will. Because if you'll sell yourself out for a quarter, that's a pretty sorry person. So, as your son-in-law, don't get you started. It bothers me. It bothers me, and the people, they're so superficial, and their lives are so superficial, and they believe that social media is a reality, and they believe that the lives projected on social media are a reality, and they just barely scratch the surface of life, and they think they've lived a life in depth. And I'm like, when you're laying on your deathbed and you're thinking back about the way you treated people and the things you actually did, you're going to realize you didn't even live your life. You questioned nothing. You searched nothing. You sought nothing beyond a superficial level. You had no seeking time frame in your life for a higher power, a creator. You don't know the worth of your own life, the worth of your own soul, the worth of your own brain. You sold yourself out for anything that could lie to you, that could make you a buck or make you feel high, mighty, moral, and proud. And you never had a moment where you had to challenge yourself and reflect and say, gee, am I not a good person? And so for the people that have never had to sit down and ask themselves, am I on the wrong side? You're probably on the wrong side. So, you know, life is a big game of, it's more like volleyball than tetherball, and all these people, they think that life is just as simple as, hitting that tether pole, wrapping the pole and watching it smack and game over. But life is very much a back and forth with everyone else in society. So it's more of a volleyball than a tetherball. But everybody wants to just, go up there and hit that stupid ball as hard as they can, thinking that, that's the goal of life. It's not. It's a tit for tat. It's a balance. It's a camaraderie with people you meet. And it should be a humbling experience at times as well. If you've not ever woke up and felt like, you're lower than a worm's belly in a wagon rut, you've not had a good reflective day. People should always challenge themselves and look at themselves before they look at others. And, people say, well, how dare you come on the internet looking like trash? This is me. If you knock on my door, it's probably what you're going to see. No matter how much Merle Norman, Mary Kay, or anything else I put on my face, it does not change my heart and soul. It just disguises what you think is important, not what I think is important. Because the people that I value don't look at this, they look at this. So we live in two very separate worlds. And I wish those worlds blended more like they used to, but they don't. We have a very superficial, stupid, ignorant foundation of people in this world. And honestly, I mean, if we would manufacture Mr. Potato Heads to vote, we'd probably have a better society. That's sad of me to say. I'm tired. Can you tell I'm tired? Needs to be a dodgeball. Hey, that's not a bad idea. Every once in a while we need to zing somebody and wake them up. Gypsy, I think you just love my voice and it puts you to sleep, which is great. Maybe I need to read books for a living. Only books like Appalachian books. What I could do that hillbilly. What is it? Hillbilly. What is it? Elegy. What is that? See, now my brain's tired. I'm tired. From where I was jet lagged and sick for so many weeks, and then the antibiotics are fighting me. I'm tired, but I do feel better. And my kitchen looks like a kitchen again. And I've still got stuff to unpack and catalog and put up. But my house is starting to look like I'm alive again. So I'm winning. Oh, Kim, can we play dodgeball? We use a bowling ball instead. That's why we're friends, Kim. That's why we're friends. That's it. Yes, Gypsy, that book. I could read that book and totally rock that audio book. I could do all the voices. I would excel at that. I could make buku off of that probably. But yeah, it's just been a few tiresome days, but I am on the upswing. I do feel better. The medicine's helping. I just need a lot of rest. And eventually I will get my house cleaned back up because the crafting bomb, I mean, every time I vacuum and sweep, it's like, when did I do this? And I'm like, oh my God, I missed that how many times that I've swept and vacuumed. So, Clara, everyone's been sick. Everyone's been sick. And I'll tell you what did it, and they can get mad at me, or YouTube can suck my butt for all I care. But it's where they everybody and knocked everybody's immune system. So little things are getting out there more and more and more. And we don't have healthy immune systems to squash the little things anymore. So the little things aren't, multiplying, and we're getting hit with so many little things. Everyone's immune systems are taking a hit because we don't have enough healthy immune systems out there to squash them anymore. It's stupid. It's stupid. Kim, it's going around pathetic. And that's really honestly what I thought I had. And they tested me and they're like, no, you're just suffering from all of this again. And I was like, well, okay. But I really expected for them to tell me I had the flu, but I didn't. I just felt near death. But I'm sure I'll catch it before the year's out. But I did the upswing came quick when the medicine got in me, so I feel a little bit better. You promise your house is first. I swept the other day and I was like, I could plant corn. And then I swept like 2 days later and I was like, I swear, this is half of Oscar in my floor. Wasn't it? It was half of you in my floor, wasn't it? How do you shed that much? You're not supposed to shed. You're supposed to have the hair that doesn't shed. Do you tear it out and leave it for me in the hallway? Do you? He's looking at me like, yes, I do. I really do. Yeah, this was our last show, so we're not going to be doing anything anymore until April. So I'm going to clean my house and get stuff like catalog stockpiled. I've got like 30 something ads on Etsy now. I'm going to try to put some more on tomorrow. Oh gosh, no, our blue healer was horrible too. Oh, well, you have blue healers, so you know. Oh gosh, Moses shed horribly. But I'm going to start to catalog and get my craft room finished. David has got to clean Haley's bedroom because that has become his store all between these craft shows. And Haley's fixing to visit for Christmas. And he's going to have to clean that room. I'm not going to clean it because it's his fur and his stuff. And he's just made that his catch-all. I refuse. The mud room and Haley's room are his babies because he's trashed them. So I decline. But I've gotten quite a bit done today. I can't seem to catch it all. Like I will sweep and vacuum and Swiffer, and then I will just lay at the right angle to catch a huge dust bunny in the light. And I'm like, ugh. It's so annoying. It's so annoying because you spend all that time up and going and doing it, and then as soon as you get comfortable, you see a dust bunny, and you're like, I mean, it just makes you wilt internally because you thought your house was clean for 5 seconds. But I've got to vacuum my ceilings and clean my light fixtures from the ladybug invasion, but I'm 5'4" and I can't reach anything, and I'm too weak to hold my vacuum up. So I don't know when that happened. It'll happen eventually. Yes, like a big tumbleweed. I told David, I said, they're going to take over. I said, it's like the replicators on Stargate. You know, I got that Dyson, and I'm impressed with it. But I think the next time that I go to get a vacuum, I'm just going to get a shop vac too, because doggone it, between everything that comes to this house and David working in the automotive factory and that black powder and that grit, and then all the hunting and all the fur, I mean, I'm just fighting a losing battle. I'm just fighting a losing battle. Of course, my house is very lived in, but I'm fighting a losing battle. So I think I'm just going to shop vac it next time myself and just get one of the nicer ones with the extender arm and just do it that way. Because, oh my gosh, there's sometimes David brings stuff in and I'm like, you're going to kill my very expensive vacuum. I got it secondhand, but still, it's an expensive vacuum. But yeah, I've gotten quite a bit accomplished today, but I'm exhausted. But I wanted to pop on here before I passed out and check in and let you know that we did good. Charlie throws his bedding on it. He just wants to give you something to do. You can come over here in a few nights and we'll have a possum roundup. We'll make possums all evening. You've got 2 more. Bless your heart. I've got to have a break. And I told David, I said, if you look at me and ask me to make a gnome for the next 2 or 3 months, I said, I may punch you. And he was like, okay. So, but we had a good time. And it was nice to get out. I'm a very social person, but also when I get out, because I am so social, I tend to go use too much energy. And so I have to be careful, especially when there are people there that know me and come up and hug me and, want to talk to me about their kid that I counseled or their family member that I supervised or something. And so it's like I'm like an entertainer on point for hours at a time because I know so many people, but it wasn't super bad. And I did enjoy the people that I saw, but I have to be careful when I go places. I know I told David, I said, I was really feeling like kind of paranoid. I had so many little people in my house, and I mean, everywhere. They were on every shelf, every flat surface, every curio. And it was just like, and I had boxes full of them, and I was tickled that people enjoyed them as much as they did, but I was beginning to feel a little surrounded. Hi, Denise. So yeah, it's just been a wild week of getting through all this and getting through the last of the vendor sales. We don't know if we're going to do this one again next year or not. It just depends on how next year goes. You dreamed about that. I'm sorry, Kim. Did you dream about cutting out all their hats? Kim cut like, oh gosh, at least 50 hats for me. But I'm just glad it's over and I can focus on kind of getting stuff back in order, because my house is, oh my God. But look at what I got. Let me show you this one thing that I got. And I got it from these ladies, and they were the sweetest ladies. And there was, I mean, the sweetest ladies. The name of their store was Two Heifers Crafts, which called to me. But I got this. Let me show you what I got. Let me see if I can pan around here. Look at everything. Can I do it? Can I do it? Can I do it? Oh my gosh, can I do it? I can't see. Can you see my wreath? Oh my God, it has gnomes on it. So I saw it. I saw that and I was like, David. And he was like, okay. And I had to have it because the ribbon that goes around it has gnomes on it. And since I had made 50,000 gnomes, I had to have that wreath. And I'm not super like talented at wreaths, so he bought that for me and I put it in my windows. I thought for about 5 minutes of giving it to my mother-in-law, and then I thought, I don't ever buy anything for me, so I'm keeping it, doggone it. So I had a greedy moment, but I needed one. I hadn't had one in a long time. So it's got a silver snowflake behind it with a buffalo check ribbon, but the gnome ribbon wrapping around the wreath was what sold me. And I found a gourmet dog bakery guy that had treat bags for stocking stuffers. So I got all the dogs their stocking stuffers. And I bought a little bit of stuff, not a whole lot, but I bought a little bit of stuff. It was fun. It was fun. I needed to get out, but boy, it wore me out. But I woke up after I stayed, like when we got home yesterday, I went to bed and stayed in bed. I only got up to go to the bathroom and eat, and I went back to bed. And I stayed in bed till 9:30 this morning. I need a gnome intervention. I do. I will not deny that at all. Oh, sorry. Oscar's eating, so I got away with it. He's chowing down here. I found Ellie Mae a cow hair, big bow that clips in. So it's a big cow print bow that clipped in. And there were some people that we had seen several times at other vendor sales. And if we get to know each other, I try to always support them. So, and Sunday was like the discount day. So I got like 30% off that wreath, and I bought a bunch of stuff. So, well, not a bunch, but I bought enough. And I had a really good time though. I was whipped when I got home, slept till 9:30 this morning, and I'm fixing to go back to bed. But I have been up, cataloged, photographed, and put a bunch of stuff on Etsy. So go browse through Etsy. I lotted stuff up and put really good prices on things. Share the links out to your family members. I think everything that we ship normally on Fridays and Mondays, but because it's Christmas, we're probably going to ship more often so that things can get there more quickly. We've gotten great reviews from people lately. Read our reviews. Most of them they love us because we send handwritten notes and thank you gifts and stuff like that. So we really enjoy, doing that. David is really proud of kind of what he's cultivated. So send it out, tell everybody about it. I did put all the reindeer on Etsy because I had sold so many local. I wanted to give everybody an option for the last few that I had because I didn't have very many left. So I put a bunch of lots on, and I'm going to do more tomorrow, and I'm going to make the possums, and I've got a little bit of jewelry I've got to make. Because I've got some of the stuff painted and some of the stuff sanitized and stuff. So I'm in halfway point. But I've got to get Gypsy's earrings done, and then I've got to do a few more pairs of stuff. But that's really all I've got to do, other than the gifts that I'm making for my kids that I've got like in the halfway stages, which Kim has helped with those too. So I'm about halfway in the halfway stage with those two. We do homemade Christmas, so I make everything. Um, but I'm happy to just kind of work on stuff for that I want to work on now. Not, no, I don't mind the gnomes and stuff, but now I want to get back to my jewelry. I'm wanting to make the possums because I think they're adorable, and then I'm going to get back to my native stuff that I really like, and that I get a really good response on. And I want to get back to those things because I've got a few ceremonial sticks that I want to get made because I've got them in here how I want to put them together because I've got all the pieces. So I'm going to try to get those made. And I just want to work on stuff I want to work on that, because when I sit down and I'm really inspired, that's when I think I create the best things. And so that's where I want to get back to instead of like mass producing for David sales and stuff when I feel good. Although I have to give David props. He sat down and made a butt ton of gnomes because I was so sick the last couple of weeks. And I never thought I would see my big lumberjack husband use a glue gun. But he did. And he made a lot of gnomes. And he did a really good job. And he is the sweetest guy because they'd be kids pop up and they would pull out out of their little pockets or their little fanny packs, and they would have like $4 and it would be like a $6 or $8 gnome, and he would be like, "It's okay." He's like, "Here." He's like, "You'll get the kid discount." So he's always one of those. And as soon as my bonus kid showed up and with her 3 girls, he was handing them gnome ornaments. He was just like, "Here, put them on the tree, take them home." And then he gave them a gnome. And he said, in order to keep this gnome happy, he said, you have to hug him at least once every day. And of course, they're all little girls. And they were like, "Okay, we promise." It was very cute. My husband is extremely sweet. He looks like he'd snap you and walk away, but he's a very sweet guy. But it's nice to see him interact because he was not social when we met. Kim can vouch for this. The man was not social. He would not speak. He was quiet and stoic and probably way more scary than he is now. He was not social. And he has really blossomed. It's 20 years of cultivation, but he has really blossomed since he married me. And so I was really proud to see how well that he handled the crowd, especially the kids. He's always been great with kids. And kids always love him. My 2 fell in love with him immediately. I think he fell in love with my children before he fell in love with me, to be quite honest. But he's always been great with kids. But yeah, he's changed a lot. I have been really good for him, but he's also been really good for me because I needed to quieten down a little bit. Imagine that. But I'm feeling mean again, mischievous again, sarcastic again. So I know I'm feeling better and I've got energy. And I had just been lethargic for weeks and had been battling so hard with the infection and the fluid. And you can ask Kim how bad I was broken out in my face and my neck and my shoulders. I was really sick and struggling there for a few weeks. It was really bad. To the point where I wasn't able to keep Ellie Mae because I was not strong enough to hold her, and it was scary. And oh yeah, Kim made this is the cutest thing. Mine's on the other side of the tree, but Kim made signs. So when we get our craft room, we've got it halfway clean, but when we get it set up with the backdrop, this will go above David's head when we do our couples chat, and then mine that says Hillbilly Heart will go above my head. And then she made one that's got like a iridescent holographic, really pretty pink and purple, and one that says Ellie Mae. And then she's helped me with some of the kids' stuff that I've needed help with. I don't have a Cricut. I don't know why I don't have a Cricut. I would be dangerous if I had a Cricut. But I don't have a Cricut. But Kim has helped me a lot with so much stuff. And so we we get a little too creative sometimes when we're together. I can't tell you some of the things we create. We get a little too creative when we get together sometimes. but we have fun, and we the possum was that was like an epiphany moment. I was like, duh, why didn't I see that? That was great. So that was a big moment. But we also made some gnomes that we can't share online because they're too risque. But they were hilarious, and made for good reason and good laughs. So he was funny though. But we've had fun, and she's helped me with a lot of stuff. Do you have one of the brother ones? I don't, and I'm thinking about maybe saving up and investing because I've always done like calligraphy and hand drawn all of my lettering on stuff, but as now that I've got the trimmer in my hand, it's not as easy. And so I'm thinking about investing one so I can make more signs and do some stuff. When I get Lane's present done right before Christmas, I will show it to you. I'm not going to show it to you early enough to where he'll see it, but right before I give it to him, I'll show you all what it is. And it's from a secondhand thing, and it's friends have helped me put it together. Kim was instrumental in making it happen, and then I ordered a few bucks of some laser cut vinyl stuff, but Kim was the one that had to make the main attraction for it because I couldn't find it anywhere else. But it's going to be a really neat thing, and I'm making the kids both kind of similar things, but I'll share those right before I gift them because they're really neat, and it might give y'all an idea of something that you might want to make. My sewing machine, I broke 3 needles trying to do a craft the other day, and I'd never broke a needle in my whole life, and I broke 3 the other day. Well, it was a couple months ago, and I have not even replaced my needle, but I have got to because I've hand done some blocks that I need to strip and put together, and so I need to put my needle back in. Yes, I've sat and hand sewn blocks like I needed to, like I need normal quilt blocks, like I need a hole in my head. My poor quilt lady had COVID, and then she's had whatever's been going around. So I checked on her again today, and she's like, I'm finally feeling alive again. And I was like, bless your heart. And she said, I am so sorry. She said, I have just been so sick. She almost got put in the hospital again. And I told her, I said, don't worry about it. I was like, just, she's like, I've almost got them done. She said, I'm literally so close. She said, but I just haven't the energy. And I said, it's okay. I said, I've been sick too. And I said, I understand. And I said, just when you feel better, get them done. But she remarked on how pretty, because I'm having her reback that peacock quilt because I had put that fuzzy backing on it, which Haley said, it's so hot. That child. So I'm having her put a regular fabric back on it. And because I wanted to sell it because it's too pretty and it's too big to stay in my quilt box. And so as soon as I get it back, I will wash it and fabric disinfect it. I do have fabric spray disinfectant. I disinfect everything that leaves my house. And I pack it with a dryer sheet so that when you open your box, it smells good. I'm a nice person. I care. But that one's going to be a gorgeous quilt. And I'm anxious to get that back. And then it's Jamie's will come back with it because she's got both of them right now. And I'll pick them both at the same time. And I'm anxious to get Jamie's quilt to her because I'm wanting her to have it for Christmas. So she's been so sick, and she's never sick. She's like the healthiest, like strongest, stoutest, country woman I've ever met. And she's just been sicker than a dog. And if I have to sit still, I will end up putting blocks together. I don't mean to. I never want to. I never initially sit down and go, oh, let me just start this running stitch and see what happens. Somehow I just turn on the Waltons and end up quilting, and it's not anything I ever planned to do. And then I have a little box or a little baggie of hand quilted little squares or 9 patches or 6 patches or crazy quilts that I put together. And then I end up going, well, now I've got enough for a quilt. And it never stops. And I blame my mother. So, Mom, if you're watching this, I blame you. I blame you for the quilting habit that you instilled within me. I don't like for my hands to be still if I feel good. And so if I feel good, I'm constantly doing something. So my mom actually is having some problems with her right knee. So if you toss up any good energy or prayers to her, do it because her right knee is really causing her a lot of grief. And of course, she's caring for Granny. And so, knee replacement surgery is not an option right now with everything that's going on. And I know she's having a lot of discomfort with it. And I wish my health was at a better place where I could help more. And give her a break and kind of take care of her for a while. But I am, honestly, my mother is healthier than I am. My dad, who is fixing to be 70, still acts like he's 45. Except for when he goes to get the cab over tractor. And then you can tell how old he is because his knees don't work anymore. But he's still quite the character. And so I think I've aged way quicker than either one of my parents. I love embroidery, but if I do embroidery, I end up I'll end up doing like 5,000 pillowcases. And then I'll like gift them, and I never keep my embroidery, and I don't know why. I do have embroidery for my great grandmother put up. But when I start to embroider, for some reason, I'll start something and then I'll think, oh, this would be cute for so and so. And I never keep any of my own embroidery. And I'm like, I've got to stop this. So I don't embroider a whole lot because it ends up leaving my house. But now I do quilts, and I do hoard quilts. But I blame my mother for that because she taught me how to do that. So, but I'm just happy to get back to doing stuff I want to do instead of prepping for these vendor sales. I don't mind prepping for them, but I like to sit down and be inspired rather than assembly line. So that's I think that I make better things when I sit down and I'm inspired. I know, like I'm really bad to always, if I'm working on something, I'm always thinking about someone else that could use it. That's just that I don't know. That's just, I think it's what you're taught around here, and Kim can probably vouch for that. If you have anything more than what you need, you're constantly thinking of someone else that could use it. And so when I sit down to make something, someone will pop into my head, and it will just end up to be for them. You know, that's just how it is, especially around here. And so I think about that a lot. And I don't keep a lot of my stuff. Of course, and then when it comes to it, I don't like to look at my own art. I like to look at other people's art. So that may be another reason why I don't keep a lot of my own stuff, is I've seen it 5,000 times and I made it, and I want to look at somebody else's art. So that may be also why I don't like to keep my own art. But yeah, I gave up cross stitching. I used to do those little ziggy ones and little bibs and stuff. I mean, just whip them out just when the kids were little, just as quick as I could. I love the ziggy ones. And I tried to do a big one not long ago, and my eyes were so bad. And I was just like, nope. Now I can still do like the plastic canvas. I can still function enough to see those. And me and Mom will make Kleenex covers till the cows come home. My mom's really talented at that. She even makes ones that look like teapots and little log cabins. And my mom's, she's patterned. She's like, everything has a pattern and she follows the pattern. I can't follow a pattern. I am abstract all the way. I drive her nuts when we quilt together, and she drives me nuts when we quilt together. And so we have to be on opposite sides of the table doing our own thing, because I will inevitably get her off pattern and she will try to get me on pattern, and we will fuss. So yeah, my eyes have caused me a lot of grief, and they've gotten better since the pressure has reduced, which I guess was probably part of the problem I was having even back a couple months ago. But my glasses are getting better. They're getting more tolerable. Oh, did you do a big Jesus one? I did a wood burning of a guy kneeling at a cross, and it had the lady's favorite Bible verse on it in calligraphy. I wood burnt all of it with clouds and sun rays shining down on the cross and the man kneeling at the cross. And it took me like 4 or 5 days to do it. And it was beautiful. And I got to looking the other day because I was telling somebody about that, and I was so proud of that because it was gorgeous. I don't even think I took a picture of it. And then I remember that Lane came over one day when I was working on it, and he saw it, and I was like, did you take a picture of that? He was like, I don't think I did. And I was like, man. So that makes me mad, because lots of times I get so excited to get it finished and get it on its way that I forget to take photos of it. I'm here to tell you, y'all, Gypsy's talented. She won't acknowledge it or admit to it, but I cannot paint. But the stuff that she has painted and showed me has blown me away. She's talented. She needs to have her own Etsy store. But y'all think I'm talented. I think I'm just bored. So I just make things because I'm bored. If you want to see talent, you should see what Gypsy's painting. I can't paint. I cannot blend paint colors. I can't do it. I tried. I mean, it's not like, I'm sure there are people that are worse at it than I am, but I just am not talented. I'm not talented that way. There are certain things I can do, but there are certain things I can't do. And I acknowledge the things I can't do. And painting is one of those things. I am not a painter. And it's something I've always loved because my mom painted quite a bit. She used to paint saws, hand saws, and she's got a couple that I'd like to swap from her, actually. Daughters steal things from their mothers. It's what we do. But she's got a couple of hand-painted saws that I'd like to swap from her, and I may end up swapping them. But I painted a horse once and put it at the fair and won first place, but I honestly I never progressed from there. It was just kind of You need to share. Gypsy needs to share some of her art. Kim does a lot of stuff. She does. She's got a more, I don't know, a darker theme to the things she makes. But you know, I enjoy it because I like stuff like that. So she gets really creative sometimes, and she used to actually do. She used to do a lot of. Used to do the scroll work and make the frames and stuff. Do a lot of woodworking, and I'm going to try my hand at carving. David bought me a secondhand big whopper Dremel. I'm going to try my hand at carving as soon as the weather warms up and I can sit on the back porch and do it because I'm not going to make a mess in my house. I'm going to try my hand at wood spirits and see what I can do, and then try my hand at a couple other things. So I think that I can do enough to justify a few little crafts to make and stuff. But I've always wanted to try wood carving. So David got me the Dremel. And I need the Dremel to do some stuff on my jewelry and stuff. So it was a necessary buy, but he thought he'd get me the bigger one just in case I wanted to try it. Yeah, I wouldn't care to have a couple of things with nicer frames made. So I may hit you up to make me some frames. Do you paint, Claire? I see we've got a talented crew here. Oh, and Kim, I found out yesterday at the thing that there is a ceramic place opening in January in Crossville, and they're going to do like lessons, like you can come in and learn how to work the wheel and create stuff, or or you can just come in and paint stuff and they'll draw it and you take it home. Either way, we're gonna have a girls' night. So we're gonna be going over there. I got our card. We're gonna be going over there and doing some ceramic stuff. I thought that would be fun. We don't have a lot of stuff close to us to do, but the Crossville's pretty decent close, and I thought, hey, that would be a decent girls' night out. Yeah, I'm going to try carving wood spirits in some pieces of wood and stuff, and I'm going to try some of the found beaver logs and stuff that David finds. I may try to do some animal carving in those, and like carve a beaver in some of the wood chewed logs and stuff. I'm really good at animals. I'm not good with people, but I think I could do like a wood spirit face. But I'm really good at animals and stuff like that. So animals is kind of where I shine. I think it's because I've taken every kind of them apart and I know the anatomy and structure. Anyway, I like to sculpt, but where I got so busy with my gnomes, I haven't sculpted a lot. So I might get back to sculpting a little bit this winter as well. So the last thing I sculpted was the feet on Abby's gnome, Gypsy. Which nobody understood when they were drying in my kitchen window. It was so funny to have two little feet drying in my kitchen window. But I think I'm going to try to do a few more sculpting ideas and just kind of play around this winter and do stuff I want to do. And then if it turns out good, I'll put it in the stockpile for the sales for David. And if it turns out bad, it'll be a learning lesson and I'll move on. But I just want to try new stuff. But I'm gonna also try to do more of my native stuff, because I've gotten a lot of feedback from a lot of the local people in the tribes, especially down toward Mount Juliet and the Cherokee Nation. I've gotten a lot of feedback. And Saturday, there was a guy stopped and talked to David about my smudge fan, and he was just mesmerized with it. And he took a card so that he could be in contact, because he says sometimes they need specific ceremonial stuff made, because they do stuff where they invite in the public and they allow the public to watch some of the ceremonies. And he was like, every once in a while we need something special made that is like gifted to like a tribe member that visits or something. And so I took a card, and so I may be in contact with him. He may be requesting some stuff. So that was nice to be recognized in that way. So I enjoyed that. Yeah, Kim's got a bunch of tools. We used to have a lot of tools, and then, my son packs them off. He goes, let me borrow this, and then we never see it again. I've got an Echo weed eater I haven't seen in 2 years. $200 and something Echo weed eater I ain't seen in 2 years. He will show up and weed eat the yard for me at times, but then he takes it away with him, and I'm like, it's mine. And so I told him the other day he was going to have to start paying weed eater support, because I want my weed eater back. But he'll show up and take like the compound miter saw or the skill saw or the jigsaw. He'll take the router, and then David will be like, I'm going to go work on something. He'll come back through the door and he'll be like, well, can't. Lane's got it. So, but it's funny. It's kind of community property here between the guys anyway, so. He's a little pack rat, though. If he gets an idea and he wants to make something, your stuff will disappear. Now, he'll bring it back eventually, except for weed eaters. I can't get my weed eater back from the boy. And he's got one just like it. He liked ours so much, he went and got him another Echo. And I was like, just drop ours back off at the house. I'm always home. And he always forgets it. And then he'll show up and weed eat and then put it back in his truck and leave with it. And I'm like, I'm going to beat you with the weed eater, child. I'm going to take it out and beat the crap out of you. So I want my weed eater back. But we've got a lot of saplings in the barn lot that David's got to saw down. And he doesn't want to crank up his chainsaw. He wants to just put that blade on that weed eater. And so he's going to have to bring it back. No, but we can get anybody to bush hog this year, so our barn lot looks atrocious. Atrocious. We used to have almost a full woodworking shop, and then Lane happened. But I have to admit, if I really need something, I can bug him and he'll make it for me. So I can't fuss too much. He's a pretty good kid. But I want my weed eater back. If any of y'all ever visit my area and you see my redheaded child, you tell them your mother wants her weed eater back. I think I'm going to have to send like smoke signals or have a plane ride it in the sky. I'm going to have to serve him with court paperwork. I want my weed eater back. He does have a lot of land he maintains, and I think that's why when they have two, I think him and Kaylee both run one. But I'm like, dadgummit, I got a lot of land too. David looked at me the other day and he said, I'm just fixing to bite the bullet and buy another one. I said, buy a used one. So if he packs it off, at least he packs off a used one. And David was just like, okay. But we've got a lot of cleanup to do this spring. We did some this spring, but then it turned dry and we never got to burn the piles that we made. So next spring we've got to burn the piles before it dries out again when it's green and wet. And we've got a couple of spots in the fence to mend because my cousin is wanting to run a steer over here for a while. So it looks like we're going to have a bovine on the property for a while. Kim, I'm fixing to sign off too. When you get Froggy, you want to pop out one night and have a possum making, just yell at me because I'll be home. You need to come and pick a Grinch ornament for the girls too. I have some left over. So, well, I just want to pop on here and check in, let you know I was alive. The weekend was enough of a success that we were happy we went. And I'm feeling better. David's feeling better. He was kind of sluggish there for a few weeks too, so he may have had the same thing. It just hit me a lot worse. Yeah, I think I've got two left with horns on them with the antlers on them, so that'd be cute. Um, but we may have all. I mean, everybody in this whole community has been puny. God knows what we've all had. But I am finally, I think, getting over it. David's feeling a lot better too. Of course, he's so strong; it never really gets him down like it gets me. He's got his Christmas party at work this week and just a bunch of random stuff. It's going to be an odd week for us, but I'm feeling better. The house is getting back into some kind of semblance of normalcy. It's going to take me through spring to get it deep cleaned. The wind the other day took all my flags down and blew all my patio furniture off the porch, and all my cats are like, "Pick it up, woman, that's my bed." So I've got to put my front porch back together. The weather here has been atrocious. And other than that, David is just now starting to get back to trapping. I think he's going to be more specific this winter when he traps. He's also getting his fur buying license so that he can buy furs rather than just work on what he traps. He can actually buy furs and resell those. So you have to be legal through the state. If you're going to buy more than so many, you have to have a fur buyer's license. So he's working on getting that. And so we've got quite a bit going on this winter and I'm trying to get his trapping stuff downloaded and edited. So I should be able to get another episode out by tomorrow evening of that. And the trapping will pick up here after Christmas. And so that'll be more content for y'all on the secondary page. But then I'm just going to get back to doing some creative crap and doing some more of the videos with the educational twist or the societal impact or stuff like that as I feel better. And just doing a little bit more content that is a little bit more of the edit and post instead of be live all the time. But I will still be live, but I'm going to try to do more kind of educational content. So we'll get back to the norm when the winter gets really bad and I stay home. I normally use you all as an outlet to keep myself not thinking about the cold and about my bones that hurt. So I try to amp up the content. And as long as I don't get sick with something else, knock on wood, then the content should be pretty steady. But I'm here to tell you the last 6 weeks have been the roughest 6 weeks that I've had since the mastoiditis. And I did not know if I was going to be able to shake what I had or not. I was beginning to get worried. And just luckily, my doctors, if I ever call and say something's wrong, I'm not feeling quite right today and something is wrong, they immediately get me in because they know how sensitive my body is. So when I called the other day and was like, something's wrong, I feel horribly, worse, and I'm starting to get the pain and the pressure in the back of my head. He had me in the next morning. So we got that remedied and I'm feeling a lot better. So I have really good doctors. I just wish we had a hospital here, but maybe one day we will again. That's such a pain in the butt for me to have to go to the hospital. But hopefully I will stay mostly healthy this winter and we can do some creative stuff and have some funny videos and some kind of educational content as well. But for the most part, I just want to kind of document David's trapping season and let you all get a much better glimpse of that, because what he does seems to really have interested a lot of people. And so I want to build his channel up, because I bet you he gave away 300 cards over the weekend. Everybody was amazed because they didn't think that anyone in the area still did this. And so he had a lot of people just constantly talking and asking, questions and wanting more information. And they weren't prepared to drop the money on fur that day, but they wanted to contact him and be like, can I call you later in the year? And he's like, yeah, I've normally always got stuff put up. It just may not be exactly what you want, but I've always got fur. So it's nice to watch him get rewarded and have people kind of show him the attention that he deserves for the work that he does, because he works really hard. So I'm going to try to work really hard on his channel now that I'm feeling better. And If we can figure out this stinking camera, I'm trying. I'm getting there. It's a pain in the butt. I'm just new things. As I get older, new things get harder. It's not fair. But I'm getting better at it. So we'll get that edited, and I'll try to get a new one up tomorrow. And I think he's going to work with a guy down toward Pall Mall and do some specific bobcat and coyote trapping. So that may be something that you all get to see as well. And then I've got a couple of people that I want to interview and share their life stories with you all, because I'm working on stories for the newspaper about them. And they are completely worth a complete YouTube video about it as well. So not only am I writing for the paper, but I'm also going to try to do a YouTube video and let you all get a glimpse of these really amazing people that do these really amazing things in my area, so that you all can see them as well. So knock on wood, if I stay mobile and stay healthy this winter, that's what I anticipate doing. But I am feeling better. The weekend was enough to call it a success, and I'm just glad I don't have another vendor sale until April. And, you know, I don't have to go to them. I just don't like to miss everything, and I miss everything. And so I've got to go to 3 things this year, and I feel like I'm finally getting to make memories again. So maybe next year will be even better for me. So everybody have a good night. And I'm going to get off here and nibble just a little bit and then make my way to bed. Have a good night. I hope everybody's healthy and stays healthy. And if you're not, watch out for whatever this is that's going around. It's a humdinger, let me tell you. Up your vitamin C, but that's what I had to do. And stay in touch. And next week, we need to try to make sure that anyone that's doing the swap gets their stuff finalized and in the mail so that people get it. So if you're having any issues with that, make sure that you email me. And we'll kind of discuss that a little bit more toward the end of the week and the beginning of next. So that's it for tonight. I'm going to run the Swiffer over the floor one more time and catch more dust bunnies. And then I'm going to nibble and go to bed. So thanks for visiting with me. And I'll try to be back tomorrow night if I feel like it. And we'll try to do something a little creative that I want to do. No gnomes. Anti-gnomes for a while. But do go check out Etsy and talk your family into buying them, because they need to leave my house. Love you guys. I'll talk to you soon.